And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Saturday, May 25th, 2013. Peter McCook, Flamingo Aviation with you. Kendall Tamiami Executive Airport in southwest Miami-Dade. We're just going to go out and have a pleasant trip over the water this morning. Go out to Key Biscayne and then up to the Intercoastal Waterway, up through South Beach, up to Haulover Beach, and then come down along the shoreline and come back here to the airport. Total time will be about an hour. You'll notice the videos on YouTube, they'll be split into two segments, one about a 40-minute segment, the other one about a 20-minute segment. Okay, so I'm just going through my pre-flight checklist here. I finished the pre-flight, and so now I'm getting ready to get the weather. I've turned on the radio, the instrumentation, the engine started, and I'm going to go get the weather. So we'll tune into 12400, which is our ATIS, our weather broadcast frequency, and get the weather here for the airport.
1.7. Attention, all aircraft simultaneous approaches are being conducted to parallel runways. Notices to airmen use caution for bird activity on and in the vicinity of the airport. Men and equipment adjacent taxiways and runways. Advise on initial contact. You have ATIS information, Yankee.
Yankee.
Tamiami Tower, ATIS information, Yankee. 10530 Zulu observation. Wind calm, visibility 10. Skies clear. Temperature 232.22. Altimeter 3007. ILS runway 90 right, approaching you. So landing runways 90 right, 90 left. Tower frequency 118.9. Ground and clearance are combined on 121.7. Attention, all aircraft simultaneous approaches are being conducted to parallel runways. Notices to airmen use caution for bird activity on and in the vicinity of the airport. Men and equipment adjacent taxiways and runways. Advise on initial contact. You have ATIS information, Yankee.
Okay, very good. So now we'll switch up to our ground control frequency and then get our tower frequency dialed in advance. Okay, very good. We're ready to go. We've performed the radio check, so you can hear what I'm saying, and it's being recorded on the GoPro camera. And we have information Yankee, winds calm, use of runway 9 or left for us here on the north side of the field. So I'm looking around, making sure the aircraft is clear, there are no obstructions, nobody coming. Release the brake, test the brake once. Yep, works well. Then I get a little more speed up and test the brakes again. Brakes are good. Alrighty, coming out here, we have lots of wildlife this time of year. A lot of migratory birds coming around. There's some sort of cormorant-type birds. I'm not an ornithologist, so I can't tell you exactly what species there are, but there are a lot of migratory birds. Geese-like creatures, duck-like creatures. You'd think they all be north by now, but they're doing a lot of flying around here, the Miami local area, I guess, for morning food or whatever. So we've had a lot of birds kind of flying from the northwest down to the southeast early in the morning between, say, 200 and 800 feet. And then the other day I saw some birds around 1,000 feet right around South Beach. So we have to keep our eyes open for birds just as much as we do the other aircraft. Okay, it's a little after sunrise. The sun rose probably 30, 40 minutes ago, but there's some clouds off to the east, so it's keeping everything pretty well shaded and cool right now. The weather is good. I'm going to have another check of the radar here on my iPhone to make sure that the beach is clear. And if the beach has some activity over there, then we'll go elsewhere. I saw some off the coast further out over Fort Lauderdale earlier this morning. All right, so there's some weather coming in over there, and indeed, it comes in very quickly right now. There's some winds out of the northeast. So actually what we'll do today, instead of going out over the ocean, we'll stay here in the pattern, and we'll do some pattern work. Okay, because this stuff is going to come on shore pretty quickly. It'll, in fact, probably be here in about, maybe as little as 30 minutes. So we'll probably get about 3 or 4 touch and goes in and then take it from there. That's one thing. The weather changes very quickly here. So here we go. Good morning, Tamiami Ground Control, Lightsport 153, Whiskey Papa, Spot 2, information Yankee. I'd like to taxi for some touch and goes.
Flight Support 153 Whiskey Papa, Tamiami ground, good morning, runway 9 or left, taxi via Alpha.
And good morning, Light Sport 153 Whiskey Papa will taxi to 9 or left via Alpha. Alpha. Okay, so we're crossing the control line here. We have the single solid yellow and the dashed line, so I need permission to cross the solid side of that line. And we're following out the taxiway lines. I know it's a taxiway because the lines are yellow, and the marker lights on either side are blue. That's how I know it's a taxiway. Okay, looking for my environmental factors here this morning. The winds are calm. There's some windsocks out here that are droopy dead. One in Peninsula Avionics is very droopy, no wind there. We have a windsock over here in the middle of the grassy area between the taxiway and the runway. That's drooping dead. One of my favorite indicators is an American flag over there in that office complex north of the airport. That is also straight down dead. So winds are calm, that's good. I've seen some migratory birds, as I said earlier. Then we have these other little blackbirds that are always around here. There's some occasional foxes and dogs and cats and things out here, so we have to keep an eye on those too. Okay. So once again, the early bird gets the worm, as they say. Get out here to the airport early, you get the airport all to yourself, which is wonderful. And gives you maximum flexibility. It's, as I've said before, if you're a golfer, it's if you're the first one to the golf course or the only one out there, you have great flexibility and you're not being rushed by anyone or anything. That's great. Okay, keeping the aircraft on the center line. Taxiing a little bit fast, so I'm going to slow down. The Rotax idles at about 2,000 RPM. And remember, the Rotax has a reduction gear of 2.4 on the output of the engine to slow the propeller down. The sweet spot of the RPM in this aircraft when you're cruising along is between 4,000 and 5,000. I like to cruise it at about 42 to 4,400. And that gives me an airspeed of around 90 to 95 knots, which is very comfortable for this airplane. In the pattern today will be, the RPM will be 5,000 RPM on full throttle on takeoff. And then as we're begin our crosswind, I'll back it off to probably 4,000 and then 3,500 as we're in the pattern. And then I'll bring it back to idle as we're starting our approach and descent to the runway. There's going to be an air show at the airfield here today, an air show and a car show. So we'll be attending that a little later. That'll be exciting. Got some old World War II warbirds in here. There's an F-14 Tomcat over there. There's a PBY Catalina. And we've got a couple of AT-6 SNJ North American trainers from World War II that are over there. Very popular aircraft at these air shows. Okay, now this windsock is showing just a little bit of wind from the northeast, maybe 1 or 2 knots. So you can see it's just sort of fluttering in here. That would look like winds are maybe kind of 020.
On the ground, Skydive 242 at Romeo, spot 2 with Yankee, ready to taxi.
242 Romeo, Tamiami ground, runway 9 left, taxi via Alpha.
Okay, and
Alpha 0, man.
That aircraft coming in behind me is Skylane Cessna. They've got the skydivers. So I think that's the first skydiving flight of the day. And they drop their customers, their passengers, about 5 miles south of here. And they have a great time. They were operating one of these terrific turboprops, a PAC 750, a New Zealand aircraft, low-wing turboprop with a Pratt & Whitney PT6 in it. It was really a very exciting plane. Okay, they're doing a runway inspection. That's what that Ford truck is over there at Miami-Dade Aviation. Okay, so checklist. Here we are at the run-up area. So first thing we do, we set the parking brake. We'll check our flight controls. The aileron up over there, aileron down over there, aileron up over there, aileron down there. Full range of motion of the control stick. And out of my peripheral vision, I can see the elevator working. And there we are. There's a ramp 60. Well, okay, good morning. All right, so we're going to test the brake. We're going to go up to 3,200 RPM and test the brakes. Make sure the brakes hold. Got my hand down here just in case the aircraft moves. Okay, 3200, no movement. And now I'm going to test the ignition system, magnetos, run it up a little higher. The Rotex guys suggest 3400 RPM is where they do their test. So 3400, and we'll test system 2 down to 3290, so about a drop of 100 to 110. All right, and we'll 3410 down to 3280, 3290, about a drop by 120. Okay, very good. Well within the tolerance and the specifications for the engine. Engine's running really, really well. I had the new ignition systems put in over the course of the year a couple months ago. Expensive, but worthwhile. Okay, we are going to set the flaps. Position 1, elevator trim is neutral. Engine instruments are correct. I've got good oil temperature, good oil pressure, good cylinder head temperature. Altimeter set field elevation, basically sea level. We're 8 feet above sea level here. Remove the parachute pin, and we are ready to go to the hold short line. Okay, checking my wind again. Looks like it's just a little breeze, teeny tiny breeze, a couple of knots out of the north. And so we might have a sensation of a little bit of a crosswind as we take off.
Ground 242, Romeo, correct trouble you for squawk code.
That's Romeo squawk, says 0157. Maintain VFR departure frequency 125.5.
0157, 25 departure, maintain VFR.
Okay, so now we're at the hold short line. Flaps are set, trim is neutral, transponder is set for alt, radio switch to the tower. We're ready to go. And I say, Tamiami Tower, good morning. This is Light Sport 153 Whiskey Papa, ready for takeoff 9 or left for some touch and goes.
Light Sport 153 Whiskey Pop, hold short of runway 9 or left, vehicle on the runway.
Light Sport 153 Whiskey Pop, holding short of 9 or left. Okay, so I'm holding short for the runway inspection. The skydive aircraft is pulled up beside me. They may let him out earlier because he's a commercial operation and really makes his money by maximizing his...
Tower up 60 cleared of 9 on left. Have a good day. Switch to ground.
60, thank you. You as well.
Let's see if...
Sport 153 Whiskey Pop, Tamiami Tower. Make left traffic, runway 9 or left. Clear for takeoff. Wind 040 at 6.
Light Sport 153 Whiskey Papa, cleared for takeoff. Runway 9 or left. Okay, she cleared me. I'm going to do a fast expedited takeoff, just out of courtesy for the skydiver here. So, going to gradually increase the power. Raise my nose. And at 51 knots, we will lift off. And I'll wait till we get to 150 feet or so. Climbing out. Here we are, 150, 200 feet.
Miami Tower, skydive 242 at Romeo, holding short 9 left, ready for departure.
Skydive 2428 Romeo, Tamiami Tower. Right turn on course approved. Runway 9 or left. Clear for takeoff. Wind 030 at 6.
Takeoff 9 left and right turn on course to Romeo 6.
And look at that, I'm at 1,000 feet, end of the runway, and we're all ready to go. That was wonderful. Okay, crosswind, I backed it off to say 3,400, and we're just going to have some nice easy work here in the pattern today. That storm is moving in pretty quickly, so I'll probably get 2 or 3 in, we'll see. Sometimes the sun obscures what's really going on, creating a big shadow. So turning my downwind, she's going to clear me for a touch and go.
43 Whiskey Pop, runway 9 or left, clear for the option, wind 020 at 6.
Light Sport 3 Whiskey Papa, clear for the option, runway 9 or left. cleared me for the option, so I can do whatever I want, but I think I'll just do some touch and goes. I'll do sort of the equivalent of a short field touch and go with 2 notches of flaps. I really like to land the airplane.
Lane 28 Romeo, contact departure.
25.5, we'll talk to you on the way back down to right now.
Okay, power back to 2,000. We're going to trim for glide in 54. 54 knots is the design glide speed of this aircraft, the best glide speed, the most distance forward for every given foot of altitude, for every drop in altitude. 13 forward, 1 down. Okay, 54 knots, trim for glide. I've got a slight crab in. You'll notice the nose is slightly north. That's we've got a wind coming from the north, so in order to make a straight ground track, I'm crabbing slightly to the right. I'm going to wait for a point 45 degrees off the end of the runway before I make my turn to base. And we're approaching that point. And I've lost about 250 feet. Okay, here we are at 45 degrees off the end of the runway. Looking around, everything's good. So I make a nice coordinated turn, maintaining 54 knots. My target elevation, or my target altitude for turning final is going to be around 400 feet. And so I know I've got 200 feet to lose between there and here, and I'm going to retrim it. There we go. And the morning air is wonderfully thick and great for flying, great for your aerodynamic qualities of the airplane. You'll notice I have this airplane trimmed to hands off, so I just fly it very gently, very light touch on the controls. Okay, here we are. I'm crabbing ever so gently to the left to maintain a straight ground track. I'm going to turn final now. I'm about 400 feet, intercepting final. Okay, there we are. Turning final approach. 350 feet. There we go. Now I'm going to have to crab back to the left a little bit because my wind is coming a little bit from the northeast. I'm crabbing to the left. Okay, going to add a little power in here to maintain a nice, steady approach and approach angle to the airport. I'm going to put in a second notch of flaps now. Okay, very good. I'm going to maintain an airspeed of 50 with that second notch of flaps. So that's 1.3 times the stall speed. Final approach.
Tamiami Tower, Super Cub 335, Papa Alpha.
Super Cub 335, Papa Alpha, Tamiami Tower, ident, altimeter 3008.
Ident, 335, Papa Alpha.
Okay, very good. I'm lined up with the airport.
Sir, did you just depart Lindbergh Landing? Are you eastbound?
Yeah, we just departed Lindbergh's and we're southbound.
Okay, proceed on course. Miami altimeter 3008, there's no traffic in your vicinity.
335 Papa Alpha, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so that was a nice gentle touchdown. 150 feet. All right, good. We'll climb it out at 62 knots. This airplane loves to climb. Look at this. 1,300 feet, rate of climb, full power, 4950 on the RPM, climbing it out at 60 knots, 62 knots, which is our VY, which is our best rate of climb. And it just loves to climb. Look at that. The only plane that climbs faster here at Tamiami is a Robinson 44. That's bragging. When I get to 1,000 feet, I'll turn crosswind because one of the features of Tamiami is they want you to turn crosswind at pattern altitude. Normally, it's most airports it would be 300 feet under pattern altitude. You can turn crosswind. Okay, I'm looking around, looking for birds, other aircraft. Grabbing slightly to the right, to the east, because we got their wind coming from the northeast to maintain our straight ground track.
Light Sport 3 Whiskey Pop, runway 9 left, clear for the option, wind 0406.
Light Sport 3 Whiskey Pop, clear for the option, runway 9 left.
Number 5 Pop Alpha, frequency change approved. You have a great day.
I'll do another one of those.
Number 335 Pop Alpha, frequency change approved, no traffic observed on your course. Good day.
He's already tuned into Homestead. You see, you should have asked for a frequency change. Because he went through controlled airspace, so he should have asked for one. He was taking off from Lindbergh Landing, and then he's probably going down to Homestead. When you check in with a controlled airspace controller, you got to check out too. Okay, we're on the downwind, 3,200 RPM. Going to pull it back, or opposite, we're abeam the numbers, which is our aiming point for the landing. All right, we're going to bring it back to 1 notch of flaps, trimmed for 54 knots. And 2 fingers, I failed to mention earlier, 2 fingers between the top of the cowling and the horizon. And that's just a rule of thumb with this aircraft, possibly others too. That's to ensure you have a good sight picture while maintaining the 54 knots, because you want to make sure that you can see what's out ahead of you. Okay. So we're gliding power off around 2,000 RPM. And when we get to that point about 45 degrees off the end of the runway, we'll make our turn to base, and we're right about there now. Turn to base. Add just a little bit of back pressure in on the stick here so we don't lose too much altitude in the turn. There we go, maintaining 54. Very nice. All right, I have to retrim it a little bit. There we go. Very nice. Okay, so I'm crabbing a little bit to the left because the wind's coming from the northeast, so it looks like I'm turning a lot to the left, but in actuality, it's just an exaggerated view. Okay, here we are, 400 feet, looking to turn final. Turning final. Now the wind is blowing us over, so I have to just correct back a little bit. So what I should have done is start my turn to final just a little bit earlier for all of you perfectionists out there, which we all try to be. There we go. Okay. And shade low, bringing in a little power. Going to put the 2nd notch of flaps in. That adds a lot more lift in this airplane. Then I'm going to maintain 50 knots. At the nose down, 50 knots, there we go. Stall speed and landing configuration is 36. We don't like to be anywhere near there when we're certainly this low to the ground and not practicing it. But this airplane is extremely responsive and it lets you know when it's going slow. Okay, here we go. Oh, that beautiful ground effect, my goodness. Okay, pulling it off. There we are at 150 feet, and we'll take the flaps out. And we'll climb on up. Like a rocket ship, maintaining a straight ground track over the runway. We've got a dual runway here at Tamiami. We have north side, south side, so we got 9er left and 9er right today. So you certainly don't want to drift over into the airspace of 9er left or 9er right. Okay, leveling off. Level the pitch, reduce the power, and then trim it up. Pitch power trim. Our turn to crosswind. I'm going to ask for a short approach while she'll clear me the option. Look at this baby. Now we got some hazy precipitation coming in to the east. Look at all those swimming pools down there. Man, have you ever seen so many swimming pools? Virtually every house. Oh, every house has a swimming pool.
And Tamiami Tower, Light Sport 153 Whiskey Pop would like a short approach on this touch and go for 9er left.
Sport 3 Whiskey Pop, short approach approved, runway 9er left, clear for the option, wind 020 at 6.
Light Sport 3 Whiskey Pop, clear the option 9er left, we'll perform short approach.
Boop-a-doom. Okay, well, I'm kind of high for a short approach, so I'm going to have to dive it down. Well, let's say this was an emergency situation. Okay, power back. Okay, quick, let's get the glide speed.
Tower, Skydive 2, Romeo 1 minute.
All aircraft, Skydive operations 5 miles southwest of Tamiami out of a skyline 9,000 and below.
All right, so I'm going to put a pretty aggressive slip in. We're going to maintain our airspeed into the white. And we'll keep it coming around. Okay, and we'll bring it around. We're at 250 feet. We're shade high. I'll put another slip in on short final. Slow down. Put another one in. Second notch of flaps. There we go. Very nice. So basically, we just lost 1,000 feet from our position to beam the numbers all the way down to the end of the runway. And hopefully we'll hit our target. We'll hit the 9. Hit the L. Sorry, missed the 9. Okay, let's go back to one notch of flaps, full power, keeping our nose up. And over the center line of the runway, 51 knots, rotate. Pull out at 54. Maintain 54 VY. Take the flaps out. And sorry, VY is 62. VX, which is our maximum angle of climb, was 54. Okay, climbing out.
Lane 28 Romeo, Tamiami Tower.
Here we go, pitch, power, and trim. Turning crosswind, keeping it nice and coordinated here. Don't like that ball to get out of position.
Lane 28 Romeo, Tamiami Tower.
He's listening to Miami Center. Okay, we got some jets landing at MIA. They're on their downwind for, 9er right.
And Tamiami Tower, Light Sport 3 is keep up, like another short approach on the touch and go for 9er left.
Lane 28 Romeo, Roger. Runway 9er left, clear to land, wind 020 at 6.
Land 9 left, short, Romeo. Light Sport 3 is keep up, turning downwind for 9er left.
Sport 3 Whiskey Pop. Extend downwind, look for a skylane on a 2.5 mile straight in. He's high and a little left, of course.
Light Sport 3 is keep up, we'll extend downwind and look for the skyline.
Okay, so she was talking to him, so she was on another frequency. I couldn't hear her talk to him. So what I'm going to do, I heard that she'd cleared him, so I just wanted to make sure that indeed he was going to land before I was. So I told her where I was and what I was doing. I was turning downwind. And so she said...
Sport 3 Whiskey Pop, number 2, following the skylane, 2 mile final, runway 9er left, clear for the option, wind 020 at 6.
Light Sport 3 is keep up, clear for the option number 2 and checking for the skyline.
caution, there's quite a few white birds just at the approach end in the grass.
Okay, thanks. We'll keep my eye out.
Okay.
Light Sport 3 Whiskey Papa has the Skylane on final in sight.
I'm
sorry for the late. Calling you late. They don't want to hand me off to airman.
I was watching you.
Okay, and then when the Skylane is abeam my wing, I will turn and turn my base leg. Now, there are a lot of white birds on short final. I didn't see them the last time down. I know they're out there. A lot going on out here. Okay, so we'll set everything up.
Attention all aircraft, it is Zulu is current. Altimeter 3008, wind 020 at 6.
020 at 6. I'm pretty high, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in a slip with no flaps, and that will allow me to lose some decent altitude. I'm at 700 feet, but I'm probably about 300 feet higher than I need to be right here. So what I'm going to do, I'll turn to final, and as I do that, I'm going to blend a slip in. So I'm going to do right rudder, left aileron, and I'll look to lose about 200 or 300 feet, starting the maneuver at 600. Got the airport in sight right in front of me. On 500 feet. 400 feet. And starting to bring it in. Okay, taking the slip out, give it a little power. There we go. I'm going to put a notch of flaps in. Another notch of flaps in. We'll have a nice slow approach into the end of the runway. I love doing slips. It's a great tool to have in your toolbox as a pilot.
Tower, good morning. Cessna 245.
Taxi inbound via Alpha. You can remain this frequency. Have a great day.
For the ramp, and I'll stay with you for taxi. Do it, man. Thanks.
Cessna 2458 Golf, Tamiami Tower. Hold short of runway 9 left, landing traffic.
58 Golf, holding short, 9 left.
I like to trim my airplane up just a little bit nose heavy. Particularly with 2 notches of flaps and you're going slower. Just because you don't want to get too slow and too low. Okay, great approach angle. Coming down at 50 knots, great angle. Love this. Okay, we're going to flare it out just right at the end of the runway. Just round it out.
58 Golf, runway 9 left, line up and wait.
I barely felt that.
58 Golf, line up and wait, 9 left.
Rotated 51. Had to put plenty of right rudder in on this plane because of the P factor and the torque and all the rest of it. There we go.
Cessna 2458 Golf, follow the light sport on the upwind, make left traffic, runway 9 left, clear for takeoff, wind 040 at 6.
Okay, 58 Golf, clear for takeoff, 9 left, following traffic.
So we turn the pitch, reduce the power, and trim it up in a minute. Turning crosswind off the end of the runway. And look back and see where our aircraft that's following us is. And he's rolling.
Sport 3 Whiskey Pop, runway 9 left, clear for the option, wind 020 at 6.
Light Sport 3 Whiskey Papa, clear for the option 9 left. We'll make this a short approach.
Short approach approved.
Short approach approved, 3 Whiskey Papa.
Good morning, Caravan November 578 Golf Charlie, holding short 9 right, ready to go for a eastbound departure.
And 578 Golf Charlie, Tamiami Tower, good morning. Proceed on course, runway 9 right, clear for takeoff, wind 020 at 6.
Clear for takeoff, on course approved, Caravan Golf Charlie, thank you.
Okay, so she cleared me for a short approach. We'll make this a simulated emergency. Okay, so glide speed, and there's where I'm going to land. Okay, so glide speed, landing point. Okay, next thing we're going to do, turn on the fuel pump. Check our fuel level to make sure the fuel valve is on. It is, okay. Now we'll hit the starter, try to get the engine started. Bop, 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 bop. Not working again. Let's try it again. Bop, 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 bop. Okay, not working. Turn the fuel pump off. Let's turn the ignition off, turn the fuel supply off. We'll make a radio call, say Mayday, Lightsport 3 Whiskey Papa, engine failure, Mayday, declaring emergency. And she'll say, okay, airport is yours. So we have our landing point, and one thing we want to make sure is that we'll have at least surplus altitude, because what do they say? The three things you can't have in aviation: the gas that's not in the tank, the altitude above you, and the runway behind you. So we'll make sure that we've got plenty of altitude for our landing.
0206.
Thank you. And as I come around, if anything, I'll want to be a little high, and I am a little high. I'm at about 600 feet, and I'm turning base.
8 Golf Charlie, contact departure, see you on the return. Good day.
Okay, so I'm going to make sure my seat belts are set, my seat belts are nice and tight, and then I'll make one more radio call, tell her I'm going to turn off the battery per the procedure. Okay, so we're going to do a slip to final and get down. Okay, so I'm dropping about 400 feet or so. Going a little fast. Well, okay, well, I'm a little low, so I'll just convert some of that speed to altitude. I'd like to be going ideally about 10 knots slower, but anyway. Okay, very good. Got the I'm going to overshoot my landing mark by about 100 feet or so. Or so. Okay, very good. Put in 1 notch of flaps again. Full power. And the hot rod is taken off.
This is a 2458 Golf, runway 9 left, clear for the option, wind 0206.
Okay, 58 Golf, red touching 09 left.
So we're climbing out, straight ground track, climbing out at 62. At 1,213 feet a minute. I just relax my feet a little bit, see where we are. Okay. I'll make sure I'm not over controlling the airplane. There we go. At altitude, I think I'm going to bring it in. Let's see, should I bring it in now? It looks like this rainstorm is all rained out. It's just a little misty. I'll probably bring it in now. Thousand feet, 70 knots, 3,700 RPM.
And Tamiami Tower, this will be a full stop for Lightsport 153 Whiskey Pop on 9 left.
Lightsport 3 Whiskey Pop, number 2 following the Cessna, 1.5 mile left base, runway 9 left, clear to land.
Lightsport 3 Whiskey Papa, clear to land at number 2 on runway 9 left, and traffic is in sight.
Wind 0206.
Thank you.
So it's just a good habit to get into that when she's cleared you like number 2 or number 3, that you acknowledge that you see the traffic. Because seeing that traffic determines where you are. Determines where you're supposed to make your turn.
Tamiami Tower, Bonanza 484 Delta, 9 right, ready to go, VFR northwest bound.
The 484 Delta, Tamiami Tower, runway 9 right, clear for takeoff, fly straight out initially.
Initially for 484 Delta, clear to go, 9 right.
Okay, so I'm a full stop. There's the aircraft on short final. I'm just going to drift down at 54 knots. A little bit over trimmed. There we go. He looks a little low, but he's all right. Now these fields out here are looking a little bit red with their green, so I think the tomatoes are getting ready for harvest. This homestead area, very rich agriculturally. We've got tomatoes, corn, strawberries, lettuce, all kinds of vegetables. It's all grown right here, just west of the airport. Okay, turning base, about 600 feet. Want to intercept my final at about 400 feet. My airspeed around 54. Grabbing back a little bit to the left.
2458 Golf, as soon as feasible, start your left crosswind for downwind.
Okay, 58 Golf, just about 20 seconds.
And at 84 Delta, there's a Skyhawk on the upwind of BMU. He's going to go westbound. You could either start your climb and leave him 1.5 turn or reference him turn northwest.
Okay, traffic in sight. We'll turn outside of the Cessna 484 Delta.
He's in his crosswind now, thanks. Contact departure, have a great day.
For departure, 7 Echo Bravo. 484 Delta.